This evening's male Jesse Owens Award recipient is the first American to set an Olympic trials record and then go on to win the gold medal at the Olympics. Since that one amazing stand-up and good-looking guy who everyone admires and strives to be like did it in 1996. I didn't write that. Sorry. Bryan's Olympic trials and Olympic Games scores were the two highest posted in the world all year. He then threw in a world indoor title in the heptathlon. Let's take a look at the 2008 Jesse Owens Male Athlete of the Year. I don't know how many of you heard about this, but in Beijing, I seem to remember everybody making a big deal about a guy who competed in 8 events. He jumped in the water, splashed around, and set a world record. He did this 8 times and got 8 gold medals. But I'll tell you, folks, the real athletes compete in 10 different events and do it for nothing but the glory, and 1 Olympic gold medal. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how you crown the world's greatest athlete. Please welcome the 2008 Jesse Owens Award winner, the world's greatest athlete, and my hero, Bryan.
Wow. Well, what do you say to an introduction like that from somebody that you've looked up to ever since you started your career as a decathlete? Dan has been, I think, the premier person for all the decathletes in the U.S., and he's the one that we try to model our careers after. So thank you very much for that introduction, and also for everything you've done for the decathlon in the U.S. It's funny Dan should bring up Michael Phelps. There's been, I guess that's probably the #1 question that I get asked, who's the world's greatest athlete? Is it you or Michael Phelps? And, just a real quick funny story. I was walking down the aisle of the cereal aisle with my son, Jacob, who's 3.5 years old, and we had an LA Times interview to do, and they wanted to get his reaction of, him walking down the aisle and seeing his dad on a Wheaties box. And my son so I walked over with the reporter, and my son kind of walks down the aisle, and we stood back and watched him, and he kind of got excited, and he said, "Oh, Daddy, look." And so I kind of puffed up my chest and, thought, oh, this is great. My son, he sees my Wheaties box, he's real proud of me. And we get down there, and he's bent over, and he says, "Daddy, look, it's Michael Phelps." And so, it was a little bit of a humbling experience coming off of the gold medal and everything. But, really, to get this award I can't explain what it means to me. As a decathlete, I think sometimes we feel like we're kind of like the ugly stepchild, like we're competing, there's not a whole lot of people out there. Usually we get the brunt of all the bad weather. I don't know if you guys watched the decathlon this summer in Beijing, but it was pouring rain, on the first day of the deck. The next day we wake up and it's, like over 100 degrees on the track. It was just ridiculous. But it's difficult doing the decathlon, and I don't mean just physically. It's difficult because we like to have the fans, and sometimes we don't always get them. But we do the sport because we love it, and for me to get this award and for it to be voted on by the media and to be able to have this accomplishment of mine acknowledged means a whole lot to me. If you ask my coaches and you ask everybody that have supported me and been around me on this journey for the last 8 years to this gold medal, they'll tell you, I was the first person to always tell you that even if I won the gold medal, absolutely nothing in my life was going to change because nobody would care. I was wrong. Things have changed a lot, and of course it's been great and we've been having a blast, but I couldn't have done it without my coaches, of course, my wife, my family members, my manager Paul Doyle, and all the people that I grew up in Hawaii with. Hawaii's been a huge part of my life. It's home for me, and I think it's the most supportive state in the country, and so I couldn't accept this award without thanking all of those people. Also, thank you to USA Track and Field. I, like Stephanie, grew up in USA Track and Field and doing USA Track and Field events, and I guess you could say USA Track and Field has kind of saved my life. If any of you have heard my story, I wasn't the best of kids and I wasn't on, I guess what you would call the right path. And so USA Track and Field provided areas for me to come and kind of focus all of my energy into and really gave me something to be proud of and to work hard for, and something that I could call my own. And that was track. And so thank you to them for that. And I hope you guys are having a good night. And I'm sure Stephanie and I will take pictures and sign autographs and all that kind of stuff later. Thanks.